Michelle Lopez, and this is my presentation posting number 3 on the great debate of sexual education. First I'll be talking about the video. I agree with both of the women. I think the blonde one made a really good point whenever she mentioned the internet. Children are starting to be exposed to a lot of sexual things on the internet, and I know either some parents or the younger people, like teenagers that still don't have kids, are like, I'm gonna limit, or I do limit what my kid watches or does on the internet. But if we're being honest, most people really don't. They just put on YouTube and or just a game or something. Kids are curious, kids click through things, kids start just looking through things and eventually find something that will catch their attention or that's inappropriate for their age. So I think if they know some basic things, maybe we could steer away from those questions, what is this, mom? Or, things like that. But I also agree with the brunette woman where she said that parents should have the talk. I think parents should have the talk. I think this is important because as a parent, you make the best decisions for your child, and when it's appropriate to speak about certain things with your child and what do you want to tell your child at age of 4 or 5. But yet again, I don't think 4 or 5 would be the most appropriate to start teaching your, not to start teaching your child, but to start learning these things at school. I think there should be a limit to the amount of things they're taught in school or the amount of things the parent tells them, because being taught that you can or can't be touched in certain places, and if they feel uncomfortable they should tell their parent, can prevent a lot of children getting raped, because unfortunately a lot of kids do get raped or get touched inappropriately and never tell their parents, because it's most of the time it's an adult who does touch them inappropriately, or keep our secret, it'll be our secret. But if a young child has been taught and told that this is incorrect, that child is more likely to go and tell their parent that this person touched them incorrectly. I also feel if it's taught in school, it'll be taught in a way that is more, I don't know, it has more structure. I don't really know how to explain it. Whereas if a parent teaches it, it'll be like, oh, don't let that little boy touch you or stuff like that. But also, unfortunately, many of the times that children are raped, it could be by a father figure, an older cousin, an uncle. And I think some parents warn about the wrong people. Most of the time, like I said, it's about a person outside of the family rather than don't let your uncle touch it, because you never want to, I guess, put that fear on your child that your uncle could do this. But I think it's super important. I feel like at a school, they will tell you, if your dad can do it, your uncle can do it, any man can do it. Or, woman too. Or if anybody touches you inappropriately, up here or down here or in a way that you don't like it. And I feel like a parent could talk to their child and explain, what, a teacher can do it or another student can do it. I feel like that's important too. And it will keep the kids safer to be taught from a younger age. Maybe not 4 and 5. I would say it's best to start teaching 6, 7, 8. Kids are starting to see, they've been in school for a grade or 2. They're starting to see a little bit more. They're starting to, live a little bit more. So they're a little bit more experienced. They're a little bit more understanding. But I think it should be basic things, which the article mentions. It says to be don't be specific about things. Don't explain specific details. Be a little short and simple. If a child asks, where do babies come from, when mommy and daddy get together, it doesn't have to be specific, because the child, like the article said, the child won't remember those specific details. But if the the parent explains like basic things, mom and dad get together, you know, and then the baby bump or things like that. What kind of information do I feel is important for sex ed class? You know, well, at a younger age, I think, you know, like what I said, the mom, dad get together. And once approaching middle school, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, around there, it's important, you know, to explain a little further, you know, about protection. Because I feel like if the kids aren't taught that, they're more likely to go experiencing and being more curious and, you know, wanting to touch each other and all of that. And if they don't know about the right protections or, you know, ways to prevent getting pregnant at such a young age, this could, you know, be problematic. Do you believe sex ed classes help someone be safer? Or do you feel it raises curiosity? Honestly, I believe it helps them be safer. If you are warned about, you know, if you do this and this will happen, I think the kids are much more likely to be safer, especially younger kids. I think for predators, younger kids obviously seem more vulnerable and they're more likely to get abused and taken advantage of. But I think if they're taught this, they'll be safer. And I think curiosity is there all the time, you know, whether you teach the kids or not, they'll eventually hear it from school. Even the younger kids, you know, if the younger kids aren't monitored on the internet and you're protecting your child from seeing these things on the internet, that's not going to protect your kid from hearing about sex or, you know, stuff like, or, ooh, I saw this on the internet. I think honestly the internet is a big problem. Or, you know, even on TV, whatever they see, you leave them watching cartoons, they click another channel, they see, you know, an ad for birth control or stuff like that. Kids are going to start asking questions, so they're going to get curious. And it's better for them to be curious and know how to protect themselves because a parent or they were taught in a class, rather than be curious and, you know, get pregnant because they weren't taught how to properly protect themselves. So yeah, those are my thoughts on sex ed classes.